Alright, in this video I want to take a look at the editor and add some functionality. Right now we can just draw squares and whatnot. We cannot, and chests or whatever, potions, keys, all of that stuff. But we cannot draw any entities, like we cannot make a level that actually has enemies in it. So let's take a look at that. First, I want to take a look at the assets and let's see, character and tile set. Let's go into that guy and let's look at dungeon character, and let's see what we have here. So I think, okay, the scaling is horrible, but I think this is what we have to work with. So similar to what we're doing here, we're showing all the tiles. Let's load in, let's load in this image and display that. That's the first thing. So we load the graphics in here. We have the graphics data, we have the tile set stuff, and I'm not sure we actually use this tile set size anywhere, so I'm gonna do this, and this will be, instead of tile set, it will be like characters. And when we initialize this thing, it's gonna be characters, and here it's gonna be a character, I think it was called. Yeah, that's it. What is character 2? We should probably check that. Just looks like a smaller one, so whatever. Let's not worry too much about that. And so we load that image, and then when that is loaded, we load the texture. Then inside the editor, we need to draw it. So here is the editor, main editor function. We draw the tile selector on the side, and that is the one we want to modify. That is the one we want to modify. So here is the kind of click handler. And put that one there. I actually want to draw up here. I want to draw the characters. So let's say, how many characters do we have? Let's look at this. It looks to be 4 by 7. 4 by 7. So let's say for row equals 0, row less than 4. Keep wanting to write I, and column less than 7, column plus plus. Right, and then we need the source rectangle. So let's do source rectangle, and it is gonna be like this. Then we need the destination rectangle. So again, it wants to make X should be the column. It's me that's being silly. This should be the row. So panel X, that looks right. And then in rows, that's probably correct too. And we add 2 more to skip these guys, and I think that's correct. So let's try to draw it, and it's not the tile set, it is the characters. So let's have a look at how that is, and now we have the characters here. You can see that this kind of like the selected tile that I have illustrated here is drawn on top, so we need to move that down as well. And the way we do that is we simply add 4 more to that. I think should be okay. Yeah, so now it's 4 down. Okay, but there's no click handler. So let's try to make a click handler. Right. And actually, I guess I typically do that also when I'm drawing it. So draw character select. And you know what? In principle, we shouldn't have like these characters because these are the player characters. But I'm not really gonna worry too much about that. Everything we place in the editor will just be enemies for now. You can imagine always doing like friendly characters and allies that you can find in a level and whatnot, but we're not gonna worry about that. Okay, so we draw on the texture, and now we should say if the mouse button is pressed and we collide with the destination rectangle, then the selected character is this thing, which I think is fine. But that means we need to add some stuff to the editor structure. So here is the editor, which contains all the information that the editor needs to operate. So another thing we also want to do is, there's no selected tile. The collision box is not selected. The starting point is not selected. If you select the character, nothing is selected. So we also want to do that, and then we want the character ID. But actually, maybe I want to call this one like is selected, and this one's, I don't know. Maybe we just keep it like this: character selected and selected character. So selected character and character selected. Now, the thing is, if we select a tile, then this should be false. And also, if we do any of this stuff, we should do that. Okay. I think that is everywhere. Of course, it's a little bit fragile. I might have forgotten something. But I think that's okay. So now we can go in here and we can click these, but nothing. Actually, let me do something else. So here we can say if editor character selected, we will actually draw the character. So that just works. Very nice. And yeah, so the point is now we can actually select characters, but nothing happens when we click over here. And that is because the other part of the editor is, of course, the edited room. I've called it draw edited room. And first it draws everything you have. So at this point we should also draw characters. I regret calling characters now, but whatever. We also need, actually I didn't think about that, so we also need like some kind of capacity for that. I'm just going to make it the same as everything else. And it's also going to be three things. Right, so let's get rid of that because it's, I said let's get rid of that because it's wrong, and it still is not figuring it out. So let's go fix this guy and hope that this thing will figure it out. So no, it's not like that. We have to say editor, and we need int number of characters and a number of characters plus plus equals this. And I'm just gonna actually not do the plus plus there because I just prefer having it on separate lines like that. And now in the drawing function, we draw the characters. Let's do this thing. Character, it still doesn't understand that we need like, well, this is also wrong up here, right? So the first one, no, hold on. So there is, okay, I'm messing up. So there's the selected character. Then there is also, let's call it placed characters, which is that. And this is definitely the selected character. And then we have to say here, we usually put the ID first. So let's go here and say character ID is editor placed characters I0, and then we'll do similar to this. And it's gonna be placed characters. That's X and Y, and then if the character ID is -1, we just break. Do I need this rect thing? So that's where we want to place it, which is fine. And it is actually doing the right thing, I think. So let's just see that it compiles, but still there's no, oh, that's not good. That is not good. And that's not good because this should not be here. This should definitely not be there. Okay, so now I click this and nothing happens. Great. So we get the character info, we break if we reached something that wasn't placed yet. That means we have to remember to initialize it correctly. So basically gamestate.editor.placed characters I0 is -1. Okay. So we draw the characters, we do that, and then let's do the click handler. And here I just have a bunch of if statements. Nice and simple. So if character is selected, then we do this thing. But actually, if there already is a character, remove it, and yeah, sure, do that one, then do the for loop, and then do if the character exists, do that. Okay, I think that kind of works now. Let's have a look. Here is Skeleton Spearman, And we can put him down. Great. There's a reset thing that we need to fix. Clear editor, which should also clear characters. There we go. And now if we do a bunch of those and we reset it, everything is good. Let's go into the main function. Let's look at the screen, which is here. 800 by 800, maybe 12. Great. And that ain't good. So we need to fix the editor up. And this should be calculated not like in a little bit of smarter way, but I will just do it like this for now. That's a bit too small. Slightly larger, please. That's good enough. And now we can make something over here, and you know, we can zoom out and whatnot. Okay, we're almost there. I think one other thing I would like to try today is to make the camera follow the player character. So the player character is always centered. So let's have a go at that. So back in the main file, we need to go into the game loop, and we have to do something here. So I'm going to try something, see if it works. And what I'm going to try is to do in the game state, I'm going to put a vector 2, and that's going to be global offset, global position offset, let's say. And then I'm going to make a comment here, follow player, and we're going to say game state dot global position offset is, and I don't want this stuff in here. And you know what? Actually, I'm not going to call it position offset. I'm going to call it camera center. Let's call it camera center. And now, when we draw things, we need to take that into account. So that's going to be here in the draw function, draw level. We're going to pass in the camera center, and potentially we also need to pass it to everything else. So that could be a little bit annoying. But let's start with this level thing. So we're going to add a vector 2, camera center, and let's make these const 2. I don't know if it does anything, but I like it. And then we can just say camera center X and Y. So at least for the tiles, I think it should work. And it's not called game state, it's just called state in here. And what's happening? Here where we draw the level. So, ooh, that's not good. It's not moving smoothly, and it's because it's at an integer. So because of that, we have to change this to a float. This has to be cast to float. This has to be float. Let's go. So now you can see it kind of follows along with the player. Which is kind of correct. Let's so at least it has to move. Let's think about the player now. Draw level. Where is the player drawn? Animate player sprite. So it's probably that one. Void animate. Yeah, that's not it. Void animate. Where's this function? Weird. Anyway, here it is. And this is indeed drawing the texture. So what would happen if we just vector2 subtract this thing from the state camera center? Yeah, so I mean something is happening. Something is definitely happening. So what is the problem? The problem is if the the player position should actually always be, what if we do this? Then the player is always at 0, which is kind of correct. Except we need to add another vector 2, which is the window.width, window.height, and I think that will do it. So yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. I'm quite confused about that actually. Why is it? Right, because this is not in tile coordinates. We need it in tile coordinates. So we need something like draw player. We need something like get width and height in number of tiles. So we actually have to say width tiles is float window width. Yeah, exactly. And then it is this thing. Okay, now he's in the center. Let's move him like that. That looks more correct. Great. So that took care of the player. And I'm worried a little bit that maybe we don't do that. Maybe we just do fixed view and then you can go to separate doors. Or I just want to try it anyway. Let's try it. Let's fix the level again. So it looks more correct. So do we need to do the same thing here is what I'm wondering. Let's call this one position offset instead. position offset, and that's fine. But now maybe I want to reuse this. So let me think. So let me think. What is it we need to do? What if we just change this to 0, 0, so I can think a little bit? Okay, that's even weirder, and that's probably because in the animate, is it in graphics maybe? I'm so confused. Where is animate? It's inside sprite. Right, so it's not there. Ah, okay, because we're not moving it. Okay, of course. So we're not moving it, so we cannot see anything. Okay. Let's see. Let me change it to plus. So if the player moves to the right, the tiles have to move to the left. So this sign is correct, and I think the same here. So let's try to add it back. State camera vector. Oops. Camera sensor. So okay, we have it now. I think we have it, almost have it, but we still need to add this guy. So let's call it like center offset, whatever. To center offset is this thing, which we will add here. Great. So now we are actually always in the center and things are moving around us. I don't know, maybe it's like too nauseating to look at. If it is, it's quite easy to change it back. So actually we should go in here and we should do a little bit of selective committing. I think all this is fine, right? And then this is the graphics, it's also fine, but here we have to be a little bit selective. So we change the editor type like that. This one we don't want, this one we don't want. Follow player, blah, blah, blah. This one we want, and this one we want. The rest is related to this weird thing. So I'm gonna commit this and I'm gonna say part 9. Place characters, enemies in editor. So now we have that on its own commit, and we can always revert this crazy commit I'm doing now. So that's the level. In the level we also draw the entities. And let's add position offset to the entity. And actually, oh wait, sorry. So let me go over here, let me close that, go into main, and draw level So the offset should just be the correct one. So we should just say vector to add position offset. So we're doing, so let me do a to-do on that. To-do, we are stack allocating a lot of vectors in each frame. My God. So you can see that this attack animation is not working yet. So let's also move that. Animate attack. And let's put in a vector 2 here as well. And everything should kind of be centered on the player still. So I'm going to do like that. And we'll see if we can get that to work. Now, how to use the offset? Well, why don't we use it here? We didn't use that for anything before, and it doesn't work. That's great. Exactly as I intended. Exactly as I intended. And why, oh, why is it like this? Attack hitbox. Attack position. Right, because it shouldn't be this. That should still be 0. It should be where we draw it, of course. So draw attack at, and that is. Let's add the offset here. So we can say plus offset x plus offset y, and now in all of these draw attack at. Draw attack at, and we're going to go here and we're going to say offset, and I think that should do it. Let's try do it one more time, one more time. And that didn't work for some reason. Why didn't it work? We get the texture out and then we and what is the offset that I gave? Probably we don't want this. Yeah, there we go. And now everything is, whoops. That's because when you restart, he goes outside the box. That's kind of weird that I could hit through the wall. And also we need to update the collision boxes where they are drawn. So wall.x and player collision x. So for some reason we have the tile size in there, and entity collision.x. Let's see. And that didn't work because we need to do the the camera as well. So we need to say state camera center, and this has to be a Y. Let's check that that's correct. It's not correct. Why is that not? So when we draw that here, we add all of those things. Ah, this is why it's not correct. Yeah. So same deal here. State camera center X plus. Make it a Y instead, and here we go. Now those are correct, but let's also fix this guy. Ta-da! Now I don't think I can hit anyone like this. Okay, so we definitely need some debug information on that as well. That's a bit annoying. Animate attack. Boolean debug mode. And basically, if we are in debug mode, I have this thing. This is the rectangle attack collision box, let's call it that, and attack collision box. Well, I think I do want to actually draw it here, so I'm going to say if debug mode probably let's add a quick to do. Remove debug mode in release build. Remove all debug mode stuff. Great. So if we're in debug mode, draw a red box around the attack hitbox, around the attack collision box. Sure, that should do it. That did not do it because this function doesn't have debug mode. So bool debug mode, and then we have to pass it. So debug mode. Great. Not great, because in the main, it's not there, sorry. Because here it's actually called debug mode. Right, so let's go in debug mode, and you can, that's completely off. So something is very, very wrong with these attack hitboxes. So let's see what we have. We have attack hitbox X. We have the position is I think this should be actually divided by 16. And the same here, divided by 16. Because this was in pixel units before, and it's not anymore. Well, that's certainly wrong. That is certainly wrong. Well, actually, maybe... Okay, maybe it wasn't that. So let's check here again. So attack hitbox, attack position. What is attack position? That was that thing, which we just checked. And that should all be in the correct coordinates. Okay, one more time. It's also like really, really weird. Hold on. So, that is so funny. That is so funny. So for some reason, the fact that there is another, like it's using the entities somehow. Why is it doing that? So. Attack hitbox for each entity. Oh. That's why. So we have to say rectangle attack hitbox copy. Is this? But you know what? Let's make it a little bit easier for myself. Let's call it original. I just want to see if this works. Original. And let's get the collision boxes. So more correct. More correct. Definitely more correct. But not fully correct. And it's not fully correct, probably because of something we did in here. Center offset, camera center. What would happen if we just set center offset? Just experimenting. Go debug mode. Well, okay, I guess the funny thing is that the animation is clearly drawn in the right place, but the collision boxes are not. So it means that, how do we draw the animation? We say draw. Right, and I don't have the offset here. So why don't I have that? I guess we need to do this. Because when we draw the attack at, we also just add it. So I think I should have done this all along. Yeah. It's a little bit hard to kill them. I don't really get it. And that's the annoying part, like we don't draw the, okay. We don't draw the hitboxes if we don't check for them. So actually I should do like this. And now, see, I don't understand. Let's do something. So if it is hit, let's say printf hit registered, hit detected, and then we will go and run it here, and we will say no hit registered. That's really bizarre. So if I do like this, okay, so, okay. This one, it's only when we draw things we have to do the offset. So that's really annoying. So here we actually need the offset as well. Let's do like such. I'm going to replace that with offset and debug mode. So probably we need some way to attack box draw is attack collision box, and then we do this thing, but actually it should be plus attack box draw, and let's go. Yeah, so using this relative coordinates makes it quite tricky sometimes, like using the centered camera, but we made it work. So hit detected, hit detected, hit detected. All right, we are back in action. Let's commit it before we lose our nerve. Let's also do that in part 9. Use centered camera. Let's call it a prototype, because I may go and fix it up later. So there we are. I think that's going to do it for this video. So I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.